People often say that the key to success is to specialize. Pick one skill, one field, one area of expertise, then dedicate years, even decades, to mastering it. That's the message we've been told for generations. It's why so many people spend their entire careers becoming experts in a narrow field, believing that deep knowledge in one area is the surest way to stay ahead. But reality tells a different story. Generalists, people who learn across multiple fields and connect ideas from different areas, often have a much bigger advantage. They are the ones who adapt, solve complex problems, and innovate in ways that specialists simply can't. The world isn't static. It's constantly changing. And in an unpredictable world, flexibility beats rigid expertise every time. Think about it. Industries evolve, jobs disappear, and technology moves faster than ever. The skills that made someone successful 10 years ago might be outdated today. A specialist who knows one thing deeply might struggle when the landscape shifts. But a generalist, someone who has developed a wide range of skills, knowledge, and perspectives, can adjust, pivot, and find new opportunities. History has proven this time and time again. Some of the greatest minds and most influential people in history were generalists. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a painter. He was an inventor, a scientist, and an engineer. Benjamin Franklin was a writer, a diplomat, a scientist, and a businessman. Even in today's world, people like Elon Musk succeed because they don't limit themselves to one field. He moves from software to electric cars, from space travel to artificial intelligence, because he understands how ideas from one industry can spark breakthroughs in another. The truth is, generalists don't just survive change, they thrive in it. They are the ones who make connections that others miss. They take lessons from one field and apply them to another. They see the bigger picture, while specialists get stuck in the details. This ability to think broadly, stay adaptable, and embrace learning across different areas is what makes generalists so powerful. In this article, we're going to break down exactly why generalists beat specialists. We'll explore the science behind broad learning, the advantages of having diverse knowledge, and real-world examples of generalists who changed the world. We'll also challenge the common myths that make people believe specialization is the only path to success. By the end, you'll see why being a generalist isn't just a smart choice. It's a competitive advantage. In a world that's always changing, the people who can learn, adapt, and think across different fields will always come out ahead. The future belongs to the generalists. The debate between generalists and specialists isn't just about careers. It's a deep philosophical question. What kind of knowledge is most valuable? Should we focus on mastering one thing, or should we explore different fields and connect ideas? Many of history's greatest thinkers believe that having a broad, flexible mind leads to deeper wisdom and greater success. Aristotle believed in balance. He called it the golden mean, the idea that the best path is usually found between two extremes. This applies to knowledge too. If you only know a little about everything, you may struggle to apply your knowledge in a useful way. But if you focus too much on just one thing, you might miss out on bigger ideas. The best thinkers, Aristotle would argue, are those who have both depth and breadth. People who can see the big picture while also understanding the details. Aristotle himself was a generalist. He studied science, politics, philosophy, and even biology. His ability to connect different ideas helped shape entire fields of study. If he had stuck to just one subject, he wouldn't have influenced the world as much as he did. His life is proof that broad knowledge leads to lasting impact. Scottish philosopher David Hume believed that we learn best through experience. He argued that real knowledge doesn't come from memorizing facts. It comes from seeing the world, trying new things, and learning from different situations. This is why generalists often outperform specialists. Specialists focus on one field for years, but they rarely step outside their area of expertise. Generalists, on the other hand, pull ideas from many different fields. They learn through experience, which makes them better at solving complex, real-world problems. Hume would argue that a person who explores many areas of knowledge is more prepared for life's challenges than someone who only knows one thing. German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a bold idea. People should constantly evolve and reinvent themselves. He introduced the concept of the Übermensch, the idea of a person who grows, adapts, and creates their own future instead of following a fixed path. This idea fits perfectly with the strengths of generalists. Specialists often get stuck in their roles. They define themselves as engineers, doctors, or economists, and when their field changes, they struggle to keep up. Generalists, on the other hand, are used to learning new things and adapting to change. They don't see themselves as just one thing. They see themselves as learners, problem solvers, and creators. Nietzsche would argue that the people who succeed in life are the ones who stay flexible, open-minded, and willing to grow. That's exactly what generalists do. French philosopher Gilles Deleuze had a different way of looking at knowledge. He didn't see it as a straight path where you start at one point and go deeper and deeper. Instead, he compared knowledge to a web where everything is connected in unexpected ways. Generalists naturally think this way. Instead of sticking to one path, they explore many ideas and find surprising connections. That's why generalists are often more creative and better at problem solving than specialists. Specialists may know more about one subject, but generalists see patterns and possibilities that others miss. From Aristotle to Nietzsche, from Hume to Deleuze, some of history's greatest thinkers have argued that broad knowledge, adaptability, and creative thinking matter more than deep specialization. The world doesn't reward people who only know one thing. It rewards those who can take different ideas, apply them in new ways, and stay flexible. While specialists may thrive in stable, predictable jobs, generalists are the ones who see the bigger picture, adapt to change, and create the future. A generalist's biggest strength isn't just what they know, it's how they think. Unlike specialists who focus deeply on one area, generalists develop a wide range of skills, perspectives, and mental flexibility. This gives them key advantages in learning, creativity, and problem solving. In a world that's always changing, the ability to think broadly is often more useful than deep but narrow expertise. The human brain is designed to learn, adapt, and make connections. This is known as neuroplasticity, which means our brains can rewire themselves based on new experiences. Generalists take advantage of this by constantly learning in different areas, which strengthens their ability to think in new ways. When someone studies multiple subjects, their brain forms links between different types of knowledge. This makes it easier to apply lessons from one area to another. A generalist might take a concept from psychology and apply it to business, or use insights from science to solve a creative problem. The more connections they make, the more flexible their thinking becomes. On the other hand, specialists tend to reinforce the same mental patterns over and over. This helps them master a single subject, but it can also make them less adaptable. If they face a challenge that doesn't fit their specific expertise, they might struggle to find a solution. Generalists versus specialists. Different ways of thinking. Generalists have a unique way of solving problems. They use what's called divergent thinking, which means they come up with multiple possible solutions instead of just one. Specialists, on the other hand, often rely on convergent thinking, where they search for the single correct answer based on their expertise. Divergent thinking is a key ingredient in creativity and innovation. Many of history's greatest breakthroughs didn't come from specialists working within one field. They came from people who combined knowledge from different areas. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He wasn't an engineer, but he changed the tech industry because he thought differently. His love for calligraphy and design shaped the way Apple created beautiful, user-friendly products. He didn't need to be the deepest expert in one area. His ability to mix ideas from different disciplines gave him the edge. This kind of associative thinking, the ability to connect unrelated ideas, is another major strength of generalists. It's why they often find solutions that specialists miss. When they face a new challenge, they don't just rely on one approach. Instead, they draw from multiple areas of knowledge, increasing their chances of finding a breakthrough idea. Creativity isn't just about being artistic, it's about seeing things in a new way. The more diverse someone's knowledge, the more creative they can be. Generalists have a natural advantage here because they have a wider range of experiences to pull from. Many of the biggest innovations in history happened when people combined knowledge from different fields. The invention of bioengineering, for example, happened when scientists merged biology with engineering. The development of artificial intelligence brought together ideas from neuroscience, computer science, and mathematics. These breakthroughs weren't made by specialists working alone. They happened when people connected ideas across fields. There's actual research to back this up. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that the most groundbreaking patents come from inventors with experience in multiple industries, not from specialists in one field. Why? Because when people learn broadly, they're more likely to make unexpected connections and find new solutions. One of the biggest challenges today is that industries are constantly evolving. Jobs that existed a decade ago are disappearing, and new ones are being created all the time. In this kind of world, being adaptable is more valuable than being deeply specialized. Generalists are naturally more adaptable because they're used to learning new things and working in different areas. If one career path disappears, they can pivot and apply their skills elsewhere. They're comfortable with uncertainty and open to new opportunities. Specialists, on the other hand, often build their entire careers around one niche. If that niche becomes outdated, they can struggle to reinvent themselves. This has already happened in many industries. Automation and artificial intelligence are replacing jobs that used to require deep expertise. Many specialists in fields like manufacturing, law, and even medicine are finding themselves outpaced by technology. Generalists don't have this problem. They know how to learn and adapt, so they're always ready for whatever comes next. This ability to stay flexible isn't just useful, it's becoming a necessity. At the core of all these advantages is the generalist mindset, a way of thinking that values curiosity, lifelong learning, and adaptability. Generalists don't see learning as something that ends when they finish school. They stay open to new ideas, new skills, and new ways of solving problems. This mindset is what allows them to succeed in different environments. Whether in business, science, or the arts, generalists bring something unique to the table. They're the ones who make connections, spot opportunities, and come up with ideas that specialists might overlook. Generalists have a major advantage because they train their brains to think differently. They're not limited by a single perspective. Instead, they combine ideas, adapt quickly, and approach problems with creativity and flexibility. While specialists may be experts in one narrow area, generalists are the ones who connect the dots and drive real innovation. In the next section, we'll explore real-world examples of how generalists have shaped history, changed industries, and created some of the most important innovations of all time. History proves that generalists have always been the ones to push the world forward. They are the thinkers, inventors, and leaders who break boundaries, connect ideas, and solve problems that specialists often miss. While specialists focus deeply on one thing, generalists see the bigger picture and bring fresh ideas from different areas. In this section, we'll look at 4 examples of generalists who changed the world: Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Elon Musk, and the success of teams that combine different skills. These examples show how generalists outperform specialists in creativity, problem-solving, and adaptability. Leonardo da Vinci is often called one of the greatest artists of all time. But he wasn't just a painter, he was also a scientist, engineer, and inventor. His genius didn't come from focusing on just one thing. Instead, it came from his ability to connect ideas from many different fields. His studies of anatomy helped him paint realistic human figures. His knowledge of physics and light made his artwork more lifelike. He even designed machines, including an early version of the helicopter, based on his observations of birds and air currents. If Leonardo had specialized in just painting, he would still be remembered. But because he explored so many areas, his impact reached far beyond art. He proved that learning across different subjects creates new ideas that change the world. Benjamin Franklin was a writer, inventor, scientist, and political leader, all at the same time. His curiosity and wide-ranging knowledge made him one of the most influential figures in American history. In science, his experiments with electricity led to the invention of the lightning rod. In business, he built a successful printing empire. In diplomacy, he helped secure France's support for the American Revolution. In politics, he played a major role in writing the US Constitution. Franklin didn't limit himself to one career. Instead, he took what he learned in one area and applied it to another. His scientific mindset made him a better diplomat. His writing skills helped him influence public opinion. His experience in business gave him a strategic edge in negotiations. Had Franklin been a specialist in just one field, he would not have had nearly the same impact. His success came from his ability to think broadly and apply knowledge across different areas. Elon Musk is one of the best modern examples of how generalists succeed in today's world. Instead of focusing on one industry, he has built companies in multiple fields, each one disrupting an entire market. PayPal revolutionized online payments. Tesla changed the car industry with electric vehicles. SpaceX transformed space travel. Solar City pushed renewable energy forward. Neuralink explores brain-computer technology. Musk doesn't claim to be the top expert in any one area. Instead, his strength comes from learning across different industries and combining ideas in new ways. His background in software helps him automate factories at Tesla. His understanding of physics helps him with rocket engineering at SpaceX. His vision for artificial intelligence connects all his projects together. This ability to move between fields is what allows him to see opportunities that specialists miss. He doesn't just follow existing rules, he rewrites them. It's not just individuals who benefit from generalist thinking. Companies and teams also perform better when they mix different skills and backgrounds. Some of the most successful companies in the world thrive because they encourage broad thinking and collaboration. Google gives employees time to work on projects outside their main job, leading to new products like Gmail and Google Maps. IDEO, a global design firm, builds teams with engineers, psychologists, business strategists, and artists to create groundbreaking products. Apple, under Steve Jobs, focused on blending technology with art and design, making products that were both powerful and intuitive. When people from different fields work together, they solve problems in new ways. They challenge old ideas, bring in fresh perspectives, and create solutions that a group of specialists might never think of. From Leonardo da Vinci to Elon Musk, history proves that generalists are the ones who change the world. They don't just know one thing, they connect many ideas, adapt to new challenges, and think in ways that specialists can't. Leonardo da Vinci blended art, science, and engineering to revolutionize multiple fields. Benjamin Franklin used his wide-ranging knowledge to shape history. Elon Musk disrupts entire industries by applying ideas from one field to another. Successful companies thrive when they bring different skills together. The lesson is clear. The greatest breakthroughs don't come from knowing more about one thing. They come from seeing connections that others miss. In a world that's changing faster than ever, generalists aren't just valuable, they are essential. The evidence speaks for itself. Generalists don't just keep up with change, they create it. For years, we've been told that success comes from specializing, picking one skill, mastering it, and sticking to it for life. That may have worked in the past, when industries were stable and careers followed predictable paths. But today, the world moves too fast for specialists to keep up. Technology is advancing, industries are shifting, and jobs that existed a decade ago are disappearing. The ability to adapt, learn new skills, and connect ideas from different fields is now more valuable than ever. This is why generalists, people with broad knowledge and diverse skills, are thriving in the modern economy. In this section, we'll break down 4 key advantages that generalists have over specialists when it comes to career security, job opportunities, entrepreneurship, and leadership. The job market is unpredictable. Entire industries are being transformed by artificial intelligence, automation, and new technologies. People who spend years specializing in one narrow field often find themselves at risk when their industry changes. What happens when their expertise is no longer needed? We've seen this before. Manufacturing workers who spent decades mastering a single machine lost their jobs when automation took over. Traditional print journalists struggled when digital media became dominant. Taxi drivers, once experts in city routes, found themselves replaced by GPS and ride-sharing apps. A specialist's knowledge is often deep but rigid. It works well in stable environments, but can become a weakness when things shift. Generalists, on the other hand, are built for change. They don't rely on just one skill. Instead, they develop a mix of abilities that allow them to pivot when needed. A generalist who understands marketing, business strategy, and technology can move between different roles, industries, and even start their own business if necessary. They are not stuck in one career path. They have options. And in an unpredictable world, options are everything. The traditional career path, one job, one company for life, is disappearing. More people are working as freelancers, consultants, or entrepreneurs, building what's called a portfolio career, where they use multiple skills across different projects. In this environment, generalists have a huge advantage. A specialist might be excellent at one thing, but if there's no demand for that skill, they struggle. A generalist, however, can take on a variety of projects. They might do writing, consulting, digital marketing, coaching, or project management, all at the same time. This flexibility makes them more resilient to economic changes. Think about it this way. If you're a musician, and that's all you do, you're dependent on music gigs. But if you also know video editing, social media marketing, and public speaking, you can create multiple income streams, teaching, making content, and collaborating with brands. The modern economy rewards people who can do many things well. The more skills you have, the more opportunities you create for yourself. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs in history were generalists. Why? Because running a business isn't just about knowing one thing. It's about understanding a little bit of everything. A business owner needs to know marketing, sales, product development, leadership, finance, and customer service. A specialist who only knows one of these areas will struggle. But a generalist, even if they aren't an expert in each skill, can connect the dots and make better decisions. Take Elon Musk as an example. He isn't just a software developer or an engineer. He understands physics, business, design, and economics. That's why he can run companies in industries as different as electric cars, space travel, and artificial intelligence. He doesn't just think in one direction. He sees how different industries overlap and uses that knowledge to innovate. Another great example is Steve Jobs. He wasn't the best programmer, the best designer, or the best business strategist, but he understood all three. That's what made Apple successful. He combined technology with design and marketing in a way that specialists never could. Entrepreneurship is about seeing opportunities others miss, and the best way to see more opportunities is to have a wider range of knowledge. Generalists also make better leaders. A CEO doesn't need to be the best coder, accountant, or engineer, but they do need to understand enough about each field to make smart decisions. If a leader is too specialized, they lack perspective and might struggle to see the bigger picture. Many of the world's top executives started as generalists. They worked in different roles, studied different subjects, and gained experience in multiple industries before stepping into leadership positions. This gave them the ability to think strategically, rather than getting stuck in one way of doing things. A great example is Jeff Bezos. He studied computer science, but also understood business, logistics, and customer psychology. That's how he built Amazon, not by specializing, but by combining knowledge from different areas to create something bigger. Leaders who can think across disciplines, make better decisions, solve bigger problems, and inspire more people. The world is changing too fast for specialists to keep up. The jobs that exist today may not exist in 10 years, and the skills that are valuable now may soon become obsolete. The people who will thrive in the future are not those who specialize in one thing, but those who can adapt, learn quickly, and apply knowledge from different fields. Generalists have more career security because they aren't stuck in one industry. They have more job opportunities because they can work across different roles. They make better entrepreneurs because they understand how multiple fields connect. And they make better leaders because they can see the bigger picture. Success in the modern world isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing enough in different areas to stay flexible, solve problems, and keep growing. The future belongs to generalists. And the sooner we embrace that, the better prepared we'll be for whatever comes next. For a long time, we've been told that the best way to succeed is to specialize. Focus on one thing, master it, and you'll always be in demand. It sounds logical, but the truth is, specialization has serious downsides. It limits adaptability, creates blind spots, and makes people vulnerable when industries change. In this section, we'll break down the biggest problems with specialization and expose the myths that have convinced so many people to stay in a narrow lane. Many people believe that to be great at something, you need to put in 10,000 hours of practice. This idea became famous through Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, based on research by psychologist Anders Ericsson. The message: practice long enough and you'll master a skill. But there's a problem. Mastery alone doesn't guarantee success. Even Ericsson, the researcher behind the study, later clarified that practice isn't the only factor. Real-world success requires adaptability, creativity, and the ability to apply knowledge in different ways. Think about it. If pure expertise was enough, the most skilled scientists, musicians, and mathematicians would always be the most successful. But that's not how the world works. The people who make the biggest impact are often the ones who connect ideas from different fields. Generalists don't just practice, they learn broadly, explore different skills, and think outside the box. One of the biggest dangers of specialization is tunnel vision. When you spend years focused on one area, it's easy to get stuck in a fixed way of thinking. Specialists often struggle to see beyond their field, which can hold them back in a changing world. A classic example is Kodak. This company dominated the photography industry for decades. Its engineers were among the best in the world at developing film. But when digital cameras emerged, Kodak didn't adapt. Even though they invented the first digital camera in 1975, their specialists were so focused on improving film that they ignored the bigger shift happening around them. Eventually, Kodak fell behind and lost everything. This kind of rigid thinking isn't just a corporate problem, it affects individuals too. A highly specialized worker might excel in one job, but what happens when that job disappears? If they've spent years mastering a skill that's no longer in demand, they're left with no backup plan. Meanwhile, generalists can pivot, learn new things, and stay relevant in a shifting job market. For decades, having deep expertise in a field seemed like a safe career move. But today, technology is changing everything. Jobs that once required years of training are now being automated, replaced, or completely redefined. Think about what happened to factory workers. In the past, skilled labourers spent years mastering specific tasks on assembly lines. But as automation took over, those highly specialised jobs disappeared. No matter how good they were, they couldn't compete with machines that worked faster and cheaper. Now, the same thing is happening in medicine, law, finance, and even programming. AI-powered systems can analyse medical scans better than radiologists. Algorithms can predict stock trends more accurately than financial analysts. Legal research, once done by expert lawyers, is now handled by software. The pattern is clear. If your expertise is too narrow, you're at risk of being replaced. Generalists, on the other hand, can learn new skills, move between industries, and find opportunities where specialists struggle. There's a saying that generalists hear all the time: "Jack of all trades, master of none." It's often used as an insult, suggesting that people who do many things never become great at anything. But most people don't realise that the original quote was different. The full saying is, "Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than master of one." That last part changes everything. It suggests that being skilled in multiple areas is often more valuable than being a master of just one. And history proves this. Some of the most successful people weren't specialists, they were generalists. Steve Jobs wasn't just a tech expert. He combined design, marketing, and storytelling to build Apple into a global brand. Richard Feynman wasn't just a physicist. He used his love for music, art, and philosophy to explain science in ways that inspired the world. Elon Musk didn't stay in one field. He moved from software to electric cars, to space travel, to artificial intelligence. The idea that generalists can't be successful is simply wrong. Being good at many things doesn't make you weak. It makes you more capable, more creative, and more prepared for whatever comes next. For a long time, people believed that the best way to succeed was to specialize deeply. But the world has changed. Technology moves fast, industries shift, and careers aren't as stable as they used to be. Specialists face major risks. Tunnel vision can make them blind to change. Rigid thinking can hold them back from new opportunities. Over-specialization can leave them struggling when their field becomes obsolete. Meanwhile, generalists adapt. They learn broadly, stay flexible, and apply knowledge in ways specialists can't. So if you've ever been told to pick one thing and stick with it, it's time to rethink that advice. The future doesn't belong to the most specialized, it belongs to the most adaptable. And that's why generalists beat specialists. For centuries, society has told us that specialists are the key to progress. We admire experts, the master craftsmen, the scholars who dedicate their entire lives to a single pursuit, the professionals who go deeper and deeper into one subject. Specialization is seen as the ultimate path to success. But as the world changes, so must our thinking. The future will not belong to specialists alone. It will belong to generalists. Those who can think broadly, adapt quickly, and apply knowledge across multiple areas will have the greatest advantage. The most valuable skill of the future isn't expertise in one thing, it's the ability to learn anything. We live in a time of rapid change. Technology is evolving at an unprecedented speed. Entire industries are being disrupted. Jobs that once required years of training, like diagnosing diseases, reviewing legal documents, and even coding, are now being performed by artificial intelligence. This shift is making specialization more fragile than ever. In the past, if you became an expert in a single field, you could rely on that expertise for life. Today, that's no longer true. If your skill set is too narrow, you risk becoming obsolete. Generalists, on the other hand, are built for change. Because they develop skills across multiple areas, they can adapt when industries shift, when technology evolves, or when new challenges emerge. They aren't locked into one way of thinking. They can pivot, experiment, and reinvent themselves when needed. The philosopher Michel Foucault argued that knowledge is always shifting, it's never fixed. This is truer today than ever before. The ability to think flexibly, to unlearn outdated ideas, and to embrace new ways of thinking is the most valuable skill of all. If artificial intelligence can replace narrow expertise, then what remains uniquely human? Creativity, critical thinking, the ability to connect ideas from different fields. These are the skills of a generalist. The world's biggest challenges, climate change, economic instability, political conflicts, and technological disruption, cannot be solved by specialists alone. They require big-picture thinkers who can see across disciplines and find new solutions. Throughout history, the people who made the greatest impact were rarely specialists in a single area. Instead, they were polymaths, people who drew from multiple fields to create something new. Leonardo da Vinci was a painter, but also an engineer, a scientist, and an inventor. Benjamin Franklin was a writer, a diplomat, an inventor, and a political thinker. Elon Musk moves between industries, from electric cars to space exploration to artificial intelligence. These individuals didn't succeed despite their wide-ranging knowledge. They succeeded because of it. They could see connections that specialists couldn't. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre spoke about radical freedom, the idea that we are not fixed beings but constantly evolving. This is the essence of generalist thinking. Instead of being trapped by one path, generalists embrace new possibilities, new skills, and new ways of thinking. For too long, we've measured intelligence by depth rather than breadth. We assume that knowing more about one thing is always better than knowing a little about many things. But what if intelligence isn't about how much you know? What if it's about how well you connect ideas? Philosopher John Dewey argued that education should not just be about collecting knowledge, it should be about applying knowledge in the real world. This is exactly what generalists do best. They don't just learn facts, they learn how to use them in new ways. Generalists aren't just smart, they are creative problem solvers. They are the ones who take ideas from one field and apply them to another, creating innovations that specialists never see coming. Look at today's world. The most successful entrepreneurs don't just understand business. They understand technology, psychology, design, and human behavior. The best leaders aren't just experts in management. They draw from history, philosophy, and sociology to make better decisions. The most innovative scientists often combine insights from multiple disciplines to make breakthroughs. Success is no longer about mastering one thing. It's about knowing how to connect everything. The choice between being a specialist or a generalist is not just about career strategy. It's about how we approach the world. Being a generalist is not about knowing everything. It's about being curious, adaptable, and open-minded. It's about seeing connections where others see only separate parts. It's about having the confidence to step into new areas, learn new skills, and think in new ways. The people who will thrive in the future will not be those who cling to one expertise, but those who embrace learning as a lifelong journey. We will always need specialists, but the people who will drive progress, lead innovation, and shape the future, they will be the generalists. For too long, society has placed specialists on a pedestal. We've been told that the best path to success is to pick one field, one skill, one profession. Then dedicate our lives to mastering it. But as the world changes, so does the definition of success. We are entering the age of the generalist. The people who will thrive in the future won't be the ones who know everything about one narrow subject. They will be the ones who can think flexibly, adapt quickly, and connect ideas across different areas. The ability to move between disciplines, combine knowledge in new ways, and learn throughout life is no longer just an advantage, it's becoming a necessity. Becoming a generalist doesn't mean knowing a little about everything. It means developing the mindset of a lifelong learner. It's about curiosity, exploration, and embracing knowledge from multiple sources. Here's how anyone can start thinking like a generalist. Read widely. Expose yourself to ideas from different fields: science, history, philosophy, technology, psychology. The more perspectives you explore, the more connections you can make. Learn new skills regularly. Instead of sticking to what you already know, challenge yourself to pick up new skills, even if they seem unrelated to your main job. Think across disciplines. Ask yourself how ideas from one field might apply to another. Innovation often happens at the intersections of knowledge. Embrace change. Instead of fearing disruption, see it as an opportunity. Generalists don't resist change. They use it to their advantage. Be open to reinvention. The world is constantly evolving, and so should you. Don't be afraid to pivot, explore new paths, or change directions when necessary. The modern world is unpredictable. Technology is advancing faster than ever, industries are shifting, and knowledge is constantly evolving. In a world like this, rigid expertise can be a disadvantage. The people who will lead, innovate, and succeed are those who can think across disciplines, apply knowledge in creative ways, and stay adaptable. It's time to redefine success. Intelligence isn't just about knowing more, it's about knowing how to connect ideas. Career stability isn't about sticking to one field forever. It's about being flexible enough to evolve when necessary. Progress doesn't come from specialists alone. It comes from those who can see the bigger picture. Generalists are not just valuable, they are essential. They are the ones who will build the future, solve the world's biggest problems, and create innovations that specialists alone could never imagine. The world needs more generalists. Will you be one of them?